Hi everyone, my name is S.C. Ellen, author of Irrevocably Shattered, my first debut mafia romance novel. And in honor of this beautiful book, baby turning 1 this year, I have decided to make this video just a little get to know the author and get to know the book better. So we are going to jump into a few questions that I gathered. Let's get started. For anyone who doesn't know, I am from a city right outside of Detroit, Michigan, which is where most of this book is based off of. I have been born and raised here. I love it here. It's home, and you gotta love Michigan summers. So I have been writing for majority of my life. I want to say I started writing probably around the ages of maybe 5 or 6. I remember having a very vivid imagination, so I was making up spooky stories, I was making up romance stories, and I was even making up mystery. Those were my 3 go-tos as a young child. I absolutely loved it. So what comes to me first is the characters. I definitely see the vision in my characters of where I want them to go, where I want them to be, how I want to portray them. So it's definitely the characters that I build the story off of. I actually develop my plot and my characters through either daydreams or dreams that I have at night. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but making this book, the main character Carson actually came to me in a dream. And for anybody who hasn't read this book yet, Carson is a troubled mafia gangster who had a very troubled life, and he found underground fighting as an outlet. So in my dream, Carson came to me in his underground fighting ring, and that's how the story was built off of. So besides me having that dream, I was one day watching the movie Casino, directed by Martin Scorsese, and after the movie was done, I was like, wow, they really don't make movies like they did before. And at that time, I actually found myself all out of mafia books to read because I read all of them. So I was like, you know what? Why don't I make these 2 worlds combine? And why don't I write a story that I would want to watch and I would want to read? So from there, Irrevocably Shattered was made. And I thought to myself, if Martin Scorsese was writing this book, what would he want to put in there? So you'll see if you read, or if you have read Irrevocably Shattered, you'll see that there's a lot of 90s gangster movie influence inside of it. So because it was my first book, I want to say the first 2 or 3 months were dedicated to researching if I wanted to go the traditional route or the self-publishing route. Both are great options for those who are wanting to get into writing. However, I wanted my first book to be 100% me. I wanted my readers to get to know and understand me as a writer. So I picked the self-publishing route, and I am so happy that I did. And yeah. So the hardest scene to write, I want to say there are lots of them. I'm not going to give any spoilers away, but there was a few times that I had to walk away from my computer, you know, wipe a few tears, come back and be like, what the heck did I just do? And, you know, it's all for the greater good of the book, but there was some heartbreaking scenes, man, that I was just like, I am a horrible person. So I want to say the funnest part was actually being in my hero's mind, Carson. I thought it was very fun to write in his perspective, you know, being this bad mafia man who, you know, is just this huge alpha male and, you know, this playboy. and I thought it was just really fun writing in that perspective, and I love his scenes. So yeah, definitely writing in Carson's point of view, because it is a dual point of view book. But yeah, definitely writing in his scenes, those were the most fun. So I find myself in a lot of my characters. I wouldn't say all of myself, but some of myself. I see myself in Elena a lot, her being very independent, her being very headstrong, and her being very outspoken. Those are definitely elements that I find similar to myself. Another character would be Tessa, because she is, you know, kind of shy. She is, you know, she goes with the flow, and she's very easygoing. So yeah, I definitely find myself in Elena and Tessa. So going off of the Martin Scorsese, definitely I would need Robert De Niro, which she would probably play Vincenzo, the head mafia boss, and I gotta have Al Pacino somewhere in my movie. Those are my two main men, and they are everything that I base off my characters off of too. I would probably have Al Pacino either as Uncle Ro or maybe even Tony. All right, lovelies, that is all the questions that I had. I hope this cleared up some things or answered a few questions that you may had about me. But I will definitely link where you could purchase this book if you haven't read it already. It will be in the links down below, including any social media that you might want to follow me on. Definitely keep up to date with news, release updates, and just following my journey of being an author. Thank you so much for watching this video. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep reading.